Every afternoon at around 4 o'clock, I get a notification on my phone from BBC News telling me that it's nearly time to watch the latest coronavirus update from the government. By that time of day, I've usually had numerous updates already from Facebook, Twitter, masked people in shop queues, funeral directors and radio phone-ins. A couple of weeks ago, as I waited for a bus, a gentleman stood at least 2 meters away and shouted about all the conspiracy theories he had picked up online about the virus being man-made and was being used deliberately to cut down numbers of people in the world. And yes, he got on the same bus as me and continued his rant most of the way up Egberth Road. I'm sure we've all heard a lot of conflicting theories and stories, making it hard to know who or what to believe. Everywhere we turn, someone has something to say about the pandemic, and we have to filter what we hear and see, or we could become too scared to go anywhere ever again. It's hard to know who to trust and who to believe. In today's Gospel reading, John 10 verses 1 to 10, we see Jesus opening up this very issue. Really, we are used to taking this passage right through to verse 18, but that section is for another time, where Jesus identifies himself as the Good Shepherd. The first 10 verses of the chapter, though, are a bit more confusing. In chapter 9, John ends with a passage about spiritual blindness, after Jesus has healed the man born blind, and the Pharisees decide to investigate the healing. Jesus leaves them, pondering the difference between what it means to be blind, therefore not guilty of sin, and claiming that you can see with your guilt remaining. Chapter 10 deals with another of our senses and invites us to imagine we are sheep in a pen, keeping an eye on the only way in and out, the gate. The sheep are wary when an unfamiliar figure turns up, but when the shepherd comes, they are happy. They know his voice. He knows their names. A farmer's wife in Swaledale was telling me once how she won a holiday for 2 to Paris. She was worried about getting to the airport late and missing the flight, but to add to this, she couldn't find her husband anywhere. Eventually, she walked out to the back fields where she found him saying goodbye to each sheep individually. He had never left them before. Jesus is the shepherd. He cares for us, his sheep. The sheep know that when he is there and they go through the gate to eat fresh grass, he will be there watching over them, just as David, the author of Psalm 23, did. But we can all remember times when someone who wasn't the shepherd led us out, and we couldn't find the right pasture, and we felt the pain of separation. In verse 5, Jesus says that the sheep will run away from a stranger's voice, but the Pharisees didn't understand what he was telling them. So in verse 7, Jesus opens up a bit more about who he is. He is not just the shepherd, but he is also the gate for the sheep. A closed gate keeps the sheep safely in, but it is the open gate that allows the shepherd in and lets the sheep out into life-giving pastures. Strangers who come and confuse the sheep, and thieves and robbers all point to one sure end. But here's the thing. Sheep are always at risk, but they need to value something more than safety. This is the something that Jesus offers, the something in that incredible verse, John 10, verse 10. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I have come that they may have life and have it to the full, in abundance, more and better life than they ever dreamed of. Wow! No wonder the Pharisees didn't understand. All they wanted was to keep things in the order they had always promoted. The thought of freedom and abundant life was foreign to them. They were restrained by their laws and traditions. But Jesus has fulfilled the law. He offers us grace. This brings 2 children's books to mind. The first is Dr. Seuss's Oh, the Places You'll Go, which is written in his brilliantly rhythmical way, and it begins, "Congratulations, today is your day. You're off to great places, you're off and away." The reader is encouraged to take a risk and step out, knowing that we need to take care and we will make mistakes, but it's worth a go. The other book is C.S. Lewis's The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, where Susan has a conversation with Mr. Beaver about Aslan the lion, who represents Jesus. Aslan is a lion, the great lion. Ooh, said Susan. I'd thought he was a man. Is he quite safe? I shall feel rather nervous about meeting a lion. Safe, said Mr. Beaver. Who said anything about safe? Of course he isn't safe. But he's good. He's the king, I tell you. The Bible is full of ordinary people doing extraordinary things because they learn to recognize the voice of God and step out in faith. Do we know that voice? The voice of the Good Shepherd who knows us all by name and loves us. Yet he is also the gate through which he invites us to step. He is the way, the truth, and the life, the most abundant life of all, life eternal. My prayer right now is that above all the other voices trying to make sense of what is going on in the world, above the fake news and conspiracy theories, we will tune into the one who has come to save us.